बिजनेस ग्रो करते हैं
स्टेडियम के बाहर.
Salesforce, helping Indian businesses grow.
I'm bored of my wardrobe. Should I stock up on some global brands?
Diversify investments with global stocks. Stock markets. Invest. High returns. Low risks.
Diversification is interesting. Should I invest in global markets?
You only progress when you ask better questions. Mint. Think ahead. Think growth.
How can I achieve my targets? How can I target the remotest markets?
You only progress when you ask better questions.
Hello.
Mint.
Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to the All About AI Tech for Good Awards Tonight, we come together to honor the remarkable ways artificial intelligence is driving innovation and creating a brighter and more equitable future. Advancements and disruptions are happening across industries, whether it's healthcare, education, sustainability, and beyond. And this showcases how technology can be a powerful force for good. To this effect, Mint had launched the All About AI series in May last year. It is sponsored by Salesforce. The objective of this was to explore the impact of AI across industries and the workforce. This evening is a fitting culmination where we extend the ambit and celebrate how AI is being used for social good. Tonight, we honor visionaries and change makers who are leveraging AI to address real-world challenges. People are building predictive tools to transform healthcare. They are building adaptive learning platforms to reshape education. And they are using AI for breakthroughs in environmental sustainability. Each story that we are going to be a part of tonight is a shining example of AI's transformative potential. For these particular awards, we had about 130 entries, from startups to non-profits, large companies, and even student-led organizations. Out of them, our jury has selected the top 12 winners who they believe have done exemplary work in driving change through AI. Distinguished guests, esteemed partners, and change makers, thank you for joining us here tonight. To officially commence the evening, it is my privilege to invite Mr. Binoy Prabhakar, Chief Content Officer at Hindustan Times Digital, to deliver the opening note.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight at the inaugural All About AI Tech for Good Awards, presented by Mint and sponsored by Salesforce. It's truly inspiring to see so many innovators and changemakers gathered here with a common mission to harness the transformative power of artificial intelligence for the greater good of society. We are delighted to have a bunch of distinguished leaders and experts with us tonight. Joining us in a bit later tonight will be our chief guest, Mariwala, founder and chairman of Marico. He needs no introduction. He's a corporate titan who exemplifies the values of leadership and innovation. We are also excited to have with us our esteemed jury members, Arundhati Bhattacharya, chairman and CEO of Salesforce India, Abhishek Singh, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, Leslie Dimond, Senior Associate Editor, Mint, and Sathya Prathipati, Senior Partner, McKinsey and Company. Thank you to our jury for your thoughtful evaluation, which has been instrumental in celebrating the impactful work shaping AI's future for social good. This evening, we come together not only to celebrate innovation, but also to acknowledge the profound responsibility that comes with it. In today's world, AI is rapidly shaping industries, enhancing efficiencies, and enabling breakthroughs in every field imaginable. At Mint, we believe that AI's true power lies in its ability to address societal changes and impact real lives positively. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the big idea behind the Tech for Good Awards, to recognize and celebrate the creativity and dedication of those who are leading this movement for social change through AI. Tonight's awards span 6 categories, each one reflecting a unique area where AI is making an impact. From social impact and environmental protection to health, culture, and education, each category highlights projects that are setting us new standards for using AI ethically, creatively, and responsibly. These awards aren't just about honoring accomplishments. They're also about showcasing what's possible when technology and humanity come together to solve some of society's most pressing issues. In recognizing these leaders, we're also aiming to spark conversations inspire new ideas, and create a community that values using technology to drive sustainable and inclusive growth. As we embark on this journey tonight, I encourage you to connect, exchange insights, and collaborate. This is more than an awards event. It's a platform for meaningful dialogue and partnerships that will shape the future of AI. Enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Binoy, for setting the tone for what promises to be an inspiring evening. Now it is my honor to invite Ms. Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairperson and CEO of Salesforce India, to join us on stage and set the tone for the day with a welcome address. Arundhati oversees the growth and strategy of the company, and during her over 40 years of experience in the financial sector, she has earned an impressive string of accolades to her name. These include the world's 100 most powerful women by Forbes, top 50 globally most powerful women in business, and the world's 50 greatest leaders list by Fortune. Welcome.
Yeah. Good evening and welcome to All About AI Tech for Good Awards. I have been credited sometimes with the kind of transformation that came about in the bank that I chaired 7 years ago now. And believe me, the one thing that I learned during the 4 years of my chairmanship over there was the tremendous power that IT had in creating equality. And it all stemmed from the fact that financial inclusion, which we had been trying to do for over 14 long years in SBI, actually happened in a space of just 7 months. But it was all on account of the fact that we had technology for the first time that enabled it. Technology that enabled us to actually say that person A was person A and not somebody else. As you know, the very basis of banking is to establish the identity of the customer. The know your customer is extremely important. And that was one thing that we never really had learned to do well. And that was exactly what technology allowed us to do through the use of Aadhaar. Besides that, the next thing that enabled us was another piece of technology, which was the mobile. Now, without the Aadhaar and the mobile communications, which enabled real-time banking, financial inclusion, which we had been trying in various shapes and forms for 15 long years and could never achieve, actually got done in a matter of 7 months. It was so impressive for me to see that entire transformation. And then, when we did open the accounts, 97% of them were zero balance. And people started questioning, was this all really useful? As you know, 3 years later, when I left the bank, we had almost $16 billion in those bank accounts across the country. Now, that really resulted in what is called financial inclusion. People who were earlier only doing cash-based transactions and were part of the informal economy ultimately got included. Now, if you had had also the power of AI riding over all of the technology that we used, imagine how powerful the inclusion could really be. Because then you would be able to determine, because of the AI that we could run on the data that we got from these accounts, as to which were the people or which were the families that really needed support. And will enable us, I'm sure, in the future to target our subsidies in a manner that they will become far more effective than they are today. Technology enabled us to get to a place where we actually did financial inclusion. AI riding on top of that can actually get us even further as it helps us target the subsidies so that they have maximum effect. That is what AI is all about. AI is about creating equality. It's about being equitable and responsible. And that is why we have this series, and that is why we have these awards. Remember always, AI is something that is powered initially with data. Now, when you use data, you have a choice of using data sets. And if you're not careful about the data sets that you're using, you could create what is called bias. You could create profiling of a particular set of people, and that is not correct. And therefore, when we are using AI, we have to use it in what is called a responsible way. Salesforce actually stands out in this respect. We were set up just about 25 years back, and when we set it up, Mark Benioff, who was our founder, he said that we want to make it a platform, a business platform, which will enable change. Nobody had thought of creating a business platform for change, and that is what Mark wanted to do. And therefore, from day one, we followed a policy of what we call 1 by 1 by 1. So we donated 1% of our profits or equity, 1% of our products, and 1% of our time to the non-profit sector, to the community, in order to ensure that the profits of doing business got equally disseminated amongst the community. Just today I was talking about the Tech for Good Awards, and we were discussing some of the entries that came in over there. What really enthuses me about this is the fact that I have also seen the CSR segment evolve from the time I was in SBI, because in SBI too we had the same policy of donating 1% of our profits from as long as I remember. Long before the Companies Act mandated a 2% donation of profits, we had been doing this 1% donation for a very long time. And in that time, I had seen a lot of people with a huge amount of passion in what they were doing for the community. But what they lacked was they did not have either the means or the ability to also ensure governance. The passion was there, the purpose was there. What was lacking was the governance. But without the governance, it becomes very difficult for you to ensure that the money is really being put to impactful use. Now that is exactly where technology comes in, and that is how Salesforce decided that 1% of its products needs to be given to this community so that they are able to run their organizations well, that they are able to keep up with the governance standards that are required. And today, we follow all of that religiously over here. Not only that, it's not only a question of giving money and products, it's also a question of us actually going and participating. In fact, in SBI, whenever I used to go and make a donation, I used to always tell the people from these organizations that, we are only giving you money. You are giving a far more important thing, which is time. There is nothing that is more valuable in this world than health and time. And those people were giving those. But here in Salesforce, we ensure that every single employee has 1 week of paid time off in order to go and serve with the company or with the NGO of their choice. And many a times we use this time to help them learn how to use these tools, the tools of technology, in order to ensure that they are better in the way they administer their particular organizations. So to that extent, we are completely aligned with this thought that technology is meant for the good of the people. And that is what we intend to do. Salesforce, therefore, in 2014 itself, set up an office which is called the Office for Ethical and Humane Use of Technology. Because we were aware that like any other tool, a tool can be used for good, it can also be used for wrong purposes. Look at nuclear weapons. Yes, nuclear weapons are dangerous, but nuclear power is possibly something that the world will have to rely on someday. So it is up to us, it is up to humanity to understand how we use the tools that we get in order to ensure that we are doing the right things for them. And therefore, we have today these awards. Today we are meeting here in order to celebrate those people that have brought their intent together with integrity in order to solve problems that ail our community. These people have actually brought together AI in order to ensure that the fruits of AI are not only used by large corporations that can use them or that can have access to them, but that they are used to solve the daily problems that the people in our country are facing. Our country is a very populous country. We have as many as 600,000 villages. There is no way, no power on earth that can enable us to deliver the services that these people need through the brick and mortar route. Imagine 600,000 villages. Can they really have hospitals that are truly empowered and can really diagnose your medical issues properly? It's just not feasible. The same with education. Education of the level that is required in order to face the changing ways that the world is evolving today is very difficult to deliver across such a vast population. The only thing that can really stand beside us and help us to do this is technology. And technology powered by AI can help us even more. And that is where the actual, the need for these awards was felt. Because we felt that if we do not celebrate the people who are doing this for the community, if we don't recognize and encourage more and more people to use technology and to use AI for solving the problems that ail the regular person, then we are not doing really the right thing. Technology and AI, as you know, can be misused hugely. Every day you must be getting calls asking you to press something or the other because your credit card is about to be blocked, or your account has some problem, or there is a parcel that is received that has some contraband goods. Every single day, I don't think there is one person in this hall that has not received such a call. Is there any such person who has not received such a call? I don't think so. And that is where you see how badly technology is being used. Technology is being used to defraud people. It's being used in the wrong way. Now, these people obviously need to be stopped, and every agency in the country is trying to do that. But even as they do it, we know that the same technology can be used instead for good purposes, for the purposes of curing us, for the purposes of giving us the right kind of education, for purposes of connecting us with the people who can help us get further up in life. And today, with Mint, that is what we are trying to celebrate. Tech for good. We want to ensure that people are not scared of technology. We want to ensure that people believe that AI can make the lives of the common man easier and better. It can improve our standard of living. Remember, as the industrial revolutions happened, the initial reaction was always one of fear and resistance. When the first villager saw the steam engine huff and puff across the landscape, imagine the feeling that they must have got. A feeling of fear. What will happen to my horses? It's what drags the wagons. What will happen to my livelihood? Imagine the handloom worker when he first saw the large mills that used to once be part of the Mumbai landscape, the large textile mills that used to be all over Mumbai. Imagine the feeling that they had, that I will probably be, losing my livelihood. We have a similar feeling amongst people today, where AI is concerned, where technology is concerned. Are we going the wrong way? Are we going the right way? That question is in front of each of us. What happens to our livelihood? Is it going to be threatened? And my response to all of this is very simple. When there is a tsunami coming, it will overtake you, whether you like it or not. The change that has come with AI is like a tsunami. It is going to roll over us. Now it depends whether you want to swim along with it or you want to resist it. And my advice obviously would be lean into it. Lean into it and find the best ways of using this enormously powerful tool that has been discovered by mankind to improve our standards of living, just as the earlier industrial revolutions have improved our standards of living. I remember, even when we were children, young children, we used to get new clothes only twice a year, okay? Because there wasn't that amount of supply. Today, the youngsters of today, they get new clothes almost every week. There was a time when you couldn't get clothes unless you actually walked to the shop. Today, you can get clothes by ordering them at 2 in the morning from your own bedroom if you want to. And because of that, our lives have become richer. Our lives have become better. However, we should do all of this with a very clear understanding that the world has limited resources. So we must make it as sustainable as possible. And again, the Tech for Good Awards celebrates those initiatives that look at sustainability, that look at ensuring that while we are doing good, we are also being sustainable. That is the real point behind all of this. And towards that end, I wanted to just say in closing, thank you all very much. Thank you for the interest that has been taken. This is the first year of the Tech for Good Awards, and it's my fond wish that this goes on to become one of the premier awards in India, because this is really something that will restore people's faith in the fact that the advances that mankind makes always makes our lives better. It is not something that we should be afraid of. It is not something where we would want to step aside and see it happening in front of us and overwhelming us. It is something in which we need to participate wholeheartedly. It is something that is going to make everybody's life better and richer. So with that, I would like to congratulate again all the winners today and say that I'm really and truly happy to be here with all of you today, celebrating these path breakers who are making lives better for us by using technology and using AI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. That was both insightful and inspirational. So now on to our next guest. With an illustrious career in technology across Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo, our next guest currently leads the Center of Excellence in AI ML at Reliance Jio. He's a visiting faculty at ISB. He has authored over 20 international papers and book chapters, and he holds more than 20 patents in AI ML. I have the privilege of inviting Dr. Shailesh Kumar, Chief Data Scientist at Jio, to join Ms. Bhattacharya on stage for a fireside chat. This chat features two visionaries discussing how AI can address complex societal challenges. Please enjoy this thought-provoking session.
First of all, a warm welcome. It's great to see you here. It just so happens that I am also a member of the board of Reliance. And I often tell Mukesh Bhai that you never talk about the secret weapon of Reliance, and which is its technology initiatives. You cannot believe the kind of transformation that Reliance has gone through on the back of the technology initiatives that they have taken, and all backed by people like you, who have really and truly, I think, made a big difference. Big difference by ensuring that technology really marries with purpose, so as to come out with this kind of solutions that, that make an impact in everything that you do. So welcome again, and I hope you will share a little bit of your insights into all of this as we go along.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you to yourself and to Mint for such an amazing initiative. I think we need more such, and hopefully this does become a very premium award going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now tell me, from this research and innovation standpoint, where do you see AI headed globally? And do you think that India is uniquely positioned in this regard?
Yes, so I think, AI has been around for many years, right? Almost since the 70s. But the recent innovations in AI, especially the Gen AI, has really opened the world to this possibility. And if you think about what is intelligence, right? The ability to learn, the ability to understand, the ability to think, and the ability to create. And now we are, at the cusp of creativity. And creativity really completes what AI does. And this opens up, all kinds of avenues. And I think we are still at the early stages of AI, in the sense that we are still going to make a lot more progress, both in terms of the new paradigms that will emerge. Generation is not the last paradigm of AI. We are going to see a lot of reasoning paradigm and many other paradigms that will emerge. We will also see a lot of computational breakthroughs. We have seen how CPUs have evolved to GPUs. And now we are going to see quantum computing. We are going to see neuromorphic computing. So there's a lot of computational advances that will happen. And I think India is placed very nicely in this, because we are, from a very long time, India has been an early adopter of technology, not just the elite India, but the common India, the Bharat. And, we have adopted the cell phones very quickly. And, one of the quotations I read when I joined Reliance for the first time was that, it's a Dhirubhai Ambaniji's quotation. He said, supply creates demand. And that is what is unique about India. When we supplied cheaper data, demand went up. When we are going to supply cheaper compute with our relationship with NVIDIA, again the demand will go up. And when we are going to supply AI use cases, not we as the whole country, the demand will go up, right? And I strongly believe that yes, AI will benefit India a lot, but I believe that India will benefit AI a lot more, because of the kind of use cases that we have is very unique. The diversity of our population, our culture, our languages, our genome, all of that, our eating habits, everything is very unique and very diverse. So the kind of challenges AI will face is very different in India, and India will have to come up with the next generation of AI that suits. For example, autonomous vehicles in India will be a bigger challenge than in the US, right? So I think India is poised for a great contribution to AI as a field, as well as a lot of innovation of use cases of AI will come in India, and we'll talk about some of them.
In fact, this time when I was in San Francisco in September this year, I actually rode one of the autonomous vehicles, the Waymo, and I was super impressed with it. However, if you ask me to ride a Waymo in Mumbai, I am not going to do it. I don't think we are ready as yet. But having said that, do you think India is better placed, given the sheer quantum of data that we have and the diversity? Means if you go from north to south, east to west, the diversity of the data, the diversity of the people, the culture, the language, even the accents. Even while speaking the same language, you have different accents. Do you think this diversity and the sheer volume of data, do you think that will be an advantage for us, or will it be something of a detrimental?
No, I think detrimental. I think, all intelligence craves for diversity of data, right? So if we don't have diversity, there's no information content, there's nothing to be learned, right? And I remember when Alexa came to India for the first time, and they wanted to just take the American models and deploy it in India. They had a very big problem, because even in English, we have 20 different accents of English in India, right? The Punjabi English accent is different from the Malayalam accent. So I think
and you didn't mention the Bengali accent.
Bengali accent and all that, right? Yes. And you can imagine just within one language, there are so many accents. And we have 22 official languages and maybe hundreds of unofficial languages. And, one of the things that we are very passionate about is the inclusion of Bharat into the digital bandwagon, right? And that is what you have done with the banking system, with the digital payments. But what does AI do in this space, especially speech-enabled interfaces for Bharat? Right? Imagine a farmer wanting to order a fertilizer. They don't want to go through a complex app. They should just be able to speak it. And for India, speech is very different than for the West. For the West, speech-enabled Alexa interfaces are just cool features. Hey, Alexa, change the volume of my TV. But in India, speech is about inclusion. And speech-first apps are going to really transform the way the common people of tier 3 cities and villages will get onto the AI bandwagon. And for that, we will have to build our own speech models across different languages, across different accents, across different use cases for agriculture, healthcare, and others. And this is just one example of how many things that are possible and need to be done. And I think India is ready for it. We are building institutions after institutions in training our people, Jio Institute, and many others. A lot of interest in the youth in solving problems, not just make money, but solving the problems of the country. I see that change the purpose for learning is not just to get a job now, but to transform society. And, these are golden times for India if we can, really capitalize on our demographic dividend and the talent and the opportunity that we have in solving our problems.
So you spoke about this solving these problems which are complex in India. I think, I also spoke about it in the opening comments. I think the two social problems that really plague us are medical and education, okay? Which we are not able to deliver at the level that we need to. Even in a place like Mumbai, if you go to any of the public hospitals, it's really very, very difficult because I find that the doctors don't even have time to look up at the patient. Means they are noting your symptoms as you are walking in, and you are reciting them as you are walking in because there's just no time. Somebody is, waiting to shove you out and put the next one in. Do you think these complex problems that we have or rendering the proper kind of education, the skilling that is required, as well as, the problems of health, do you think these are amenable to be solved by AI as it is evolving today?
Yes. Yeah, so I think that's a great question, and I think this is the question I was really, it goes with the theme also. So, Sundar Pichai made a very important statement a couple of years ago that AI is one of the most transformative things that mankind has ever done. And really, he was talking about the full potential of AI, which we have not yet achieved. So until our patients, our doctors, our nurses, our students, our teachers are not benefiting from AI, we have not yet arrived, right? And to that, I think healthcare, I have 5 themes that I think are very important to understand how to do social transformation. So the first is in any domain, healthcare and education we'll take, and agriculture. The first thing is to find the core use cases, the core pain point in that vertical. So what is the core pain point in health is not treatment, but diagnosis. And because of wrong diagnosis, because of delayed diagnosis, a lot of problems are happening. Cancers and many other diseases become much worse, and the burden on the healthcare increases because diagnosis is not done. So many companies, including us, we have built an AI chatbot which can talk to a patient like a regular doctor, ask follow-up questions, and come up with a diagnosis. And now our accuracy is better than the MBBS doctor that graduates from the medical school. And now we are thinking, if we can make it available in all Indian languages through all channels, free of cost, at least the diagnosis is done. Now we automate that and say, okay, you are diagnosed with some diseases, doctor has approved it, you need to do these tests, go do these tests before you come. And by the way, the tests are not going to be looked at by a radiologist or a pathologist. AI will look at it first and then say, here is the final diagnosis. AI will also generate the prescriptions based on your overall health and what other medicines you are taking. So if you think about preclinical diagnosis, post-clinical diagnosis, and prescription, all three places AI has a role to play. And with language diversity, making it available, with proper guardrails from real doctors on the back end confirming everything, we can really bring a great doctor to all Indians, right? And that is what AI does. It brings a great expert to everyone. That's what it does, right? In education, I'm very passionate about education, and unfortunately, we are all victims of a 200-year-old education system, which was designed by the British for creating factory workers and clerks. It was never designed to produce innovators and thinkers. And look at our record in the Nobel Prize. We have 9 Nobel laureates coming out of India with 1 billion people and 100 years later, right? And it shows. So I think this is the perfect time to transform education with AI. And what the key theme is, personalization at scale. And that is what AI will do. What it means is, if you think about our Netflixes and our Instagrams and our X is all personalized, right? Everybody sees a different screen, but education is not yet personalized. And in the past, our priorities in AI and technology had been commercial in nature: build a social network, build a search engine, build a media, YouTube and all that. It never was this until COVID happened and people realized, oh, we can use this for education. And now we see, plethora of edtech companies coming out. So there are 3 roles AI will play in this, which is, one is personalization of curriculum. Not every child is at the same and AI can suggest what one child is ready to learn is different than what a child is ready to learn. So curriculum personalization will be very important. Second is content personalization. I may learn in a different way than some other child will learn. And with Gen AI, I can actually generate a content specifically for each child on the spot. So that is the new power that we have. And third is the homework personalization. It is, we cannot give the same homework to every child, right? Students who are ahead need more challenging than the students behind. So AI can play a role in personalizing all the 3. And the fourth is, I think we need a hybrid education system. Now we are moving into digital physical ecosystems, right? Everywhere we are moving into digital physical. So education and healthcare and agriculture also will become digital physical. What does it mean? The physical schools will still be needed for doing the labs, for doing football, for doing debates and all that, for doing startups and hackathons. I think the purpose of school has to be problem solving, not content ingestion. And the digital school, which is your laptop or whatever, should be where students are consuming content from the best teachers in the world, very precisely curated for them, and trying to think about how to use it to solve problems. So I think our education system needs to change and can change with the new education policy, with the new technology and availability of devices and connectivity to all. I think we are at the cusp of a very different education system, and I keep saying, think if education was born today, not 200 years ago, how would it look like? And if we think like that, we will really, not spend money on more B.Ed programs and more teacher training, but, bringing AI into the fore. And, the area of agriculture is another important area. Our farmers are still committing suicide. They are making the wrong decisions and all of that. And I think a Krishi Darshan program is not going to help the country because one program for everyone doesn't work. Again, personalization at scale. Can AI look at your soil data, your temperature, your weather data, your satellite data, and give you a very precise advisory every single day to every farmer? Is the new possibility. So I think, all these areas, if we think big and bold, we can really transform. And we need a different mindset. I think one of the things I'll talk about is, even with 1,000 startups in education, 1,000 startups in healthcare and agriculture, we will solve very interesting point solutions. But until we integrate all of that together into what I call an education operating system, an agriculture operating system, or a healthcare operating system, which integrates everything together, right? The supply chain, the content, the advisory, everything together has to be integrated. And that, I think, Mr. Ambani keeps saying, integration is the next innovation. And until we know how to build a body from the cells and tissues that we are building, we will not form a complete transformation. So this is one of the areas that I'm very passionate about, which is how to integrate all the great work that startups and other companies are doing to create an operating system for X. And X could be sustainability, energy, education, and all of that.
Actually, this is what I love about Reliance, the breadth and depth of the vision. They always have this, the really grand vision. And the good thing is that they execute on it as well. One thing that I got reminded in all of this, that when I talk about these things in certain forums, there is always that frisson of fear that comes up, that if everything is being done, say, like the way Dr. Kumar just described, say, in medicine, then what will the doctors do? What happens to their roles? And there, that's a very nice thing that Mark had said. He said that, AI will at last allow humans to be humans. Okay, at this point of time, we are doing so much of the grunge work, so much of the repetitive work, that we have forgotten that we are here to be creative. We are here to create relationships. We are here to be there for each other. A doctor really has no time for bedside manners today. What bedside manners? Means they don't have the time to breathe properly during the period that they are on call. At long last, maybe they will be in a position to have the time to hold the patient's hands for a few minutes. And that actually can work wonders, far bigger wonders than, if you get all kinds of things, pumped into a patient. The sheer presence and the humane kind of the treatment that you get, I think that makes a big difference. And probably AI will at long last allow people to have that luxury of doing it that way.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So, the next thing that I talked about, and you talked about it a little, and especially being in Jio, you would be very much a part of this. How do you see AI and ML driving changes in sectors like mobility, energy? And, Reliance has agreed to become carbon neutral by, I think, 2050. So, environmental sustainability, how will AI and ML drive these areas?
Yeah, so I think, we are seeing what we call a transformation from old energy to new energy now, right? So, old energy is all about coal and oil and nuclear, to new energy, which is solar and wind and hydro. And the idea is we are going to see a period of hybrid energy for a while, right? We are going to be able to create systems where we have low carbon footprint, good energy coming from solar, but not reliable, because if it is cloudy, if it is whatever, right, winter. And on the other side, we have old energy, but highly reliable. And the next big innovation in this is going to be, how do we tell a coal plant to reduce its output because solar is enough right now, or wind is enough right now, and increase its output because solar is not enough right now. So this idea of integrating old energy with new energy and, slowly using not only supply demand as your objective function, but also sustainability, and then creating a hybrid energy system is one area. Second is, I think, reduction in energy in whatever we do. If we think about smart cities, smart buildings, thermostats and controlling the whole thing, today we don't use energy very effectively. I think we waste a lot more. And hopefully with smart buildings and those ideas, AI will be able to help. Even in our manufacturing, for example, we may be using less than optimal methods and all that. So AI can help improve the processes and make them a lot more efficient, so the energy consumption is much lower. So, all those roles AI will play, but AI itself needs a lot of energy. So we are now in the other era. Not only we need energy to run cities, we need enough energy that one city needs to train one model also, right? And that's where you must have seen, Sathya, Nadella, everybody's talking about building a nuclear power plant next to their data centers. So I think, earlier we had an excuse that, we didn't have enough data, so we can't do AI. Then we had an excuse that we don't have enough compute, so we can't do AI. Now we have an excuse that we don't have enough energy to do AI, right? And now AI is not becoming a data problem or a compute problem. We have solved those. AI is now becoming an energy problem. And I think Mr. Ambani's vision of creating amazing, very, very large solar plants and using them both to power our cities and our data centers to bring down the cost. Like we have brought down the cost of connectivity, how do we bring down the cost of compute? And then how do we bring down the cost of energy? Because only then we'll be able to create a sustainable planet. So.
And that is actually a major challenge. As you know, because of the cooling requirements, there have been all kinds of wild suggestions of building, server rooms beneath this water, going up to the Nordic nations in order to have your data centers there. So there are all kinds of weird suggestions that are going around. Because yes, computing does need a lot of energy. And we are yet to solve that issue. And unless that issue is solved, AI will not be in the hands of the common person. I fully agree with you. When we are doing all this cutting edge AI technologies like quantum AI, knowledge graphs, etc., how do they address our ability to really solve the complex challenges that we are facing today? Because today the world is becoming very, very complex in the way, in the way it's behaving. Climate challenges are all across the place. The crises that happen come in waves that we cannot even imagine. Like none of us imagined the pandemic. Immediately after the pandemic, people thought that the world was now safe, and we had the Russian-Ukraine war. And as soon as that people got used to it, we had another war in the Middle East. So, Europe is burning on both ends, so to speak. And as that was settling down, we suddenly have the onslaught of Gen AI, as evolved with, changing every single idea that people had. So, the crisis, we never really know from where it's coming. So do you think all of these new technologies and the really cutting edge ones, like, as I said, quantum AI and knowledge graphs, etc., do you think they will help us in stabilizing or in forecasting which way the world is going and in which way we may be able to solve these problems?
Yeah, I think, we are heading in the complex ecosystem world. You're very right. So if you think about the products we have built in the past, washing machines and cars, they were very simple in terms of their intelligence and, in terms of their delivery. Then came the whole era of Google search and all that, and we suddenly saw a jump in complexity. Suddenly we needed so much data center to do search engines and social networks. So these were very different products compared to the first generation products. And the next generation products are going to be even more complex. So, for example, a whole smart city, if you think of it as one product, it's a very complex system, right? If you think of refinery as one product, or if you think of a telecom network as one product, or agriculture ecosystem of the whole country as one product. So complexity of what mankind is able to do is continuously increasing. And I think, both IT paradigms and AI paradigms and the paradigms you talked about, the future compute paradigms like quantum and knowledge graphs, will continue to help us solve that problem. And one of the problems I see in industry and society and government is that AI is as much a technology as a mindset. And we are not developing the AI mindset yet. We are not either understanding AI, the AI literacy is what I call, right? If you think about math literacy is a very universal literacy, right? A shopkeeper needs to know and a Nobel laureate in economics needs to know math. Similarly, language literacy is everybody's problem, right? A journalist needs to know and everybody. Similarly, AI literacy is the new norm. And I think everybody in the legal domain, agriculture domain, healthcare domain, every domain needs to have AI literacy the way we have math and English literacy. So one of the things we need to do with the next challenge is not just technological, but also uplifting the society and bringing awareness and literacy in that area. And second challenge I see is we are still doing our own things. India is famous for being disintegrated for the longest time. And if we remain disintegrated, this is my data, that is your data, I will not share data with you. this is my model, that is your model, we will compete with each other forever. So I think we need to change that mindset. We need to come together. Everybody cannot become a CEO of a startup. We need to become part of the big ocean that we have in, like you said, the tsunami that we are part of. So I think becoming collaborative, only then we can solve the complex system problems, right? Nobody can solve all the 200 problems that we need to solve in education or healthcare or agriculture. But I think complexity can be solved with collaboration and with new technology. So I think that is a very important theme that we all should work together. We need frameworks to bring us together like this, like many others, so that we can solve these complex problems and work together.
Very beautifully put, I must say, because this is indeed a problem. And in fact, this is one problem, I think, that authoritarian countries have been able to just overcome by mandating it. But countries that do not have those kinds of governments or those kinds of, those kinds of regimes, they continue to suffer, which should not really be the case. They need to be, at par with everybody else. And yes, we need a collaborative framework in order to do that. I see we have a little time to take maybe 2 or 3 questions. In case anybody from the audience would like to ask. Yes, please. Can you give a mic there?
Evening, ma'am. It's a pleasure being and listening you, and thank you very much, Dr. Shailesh Kumar. Very good insights you've given in AI. One of the things that we hold close to the heart in IT is integrity of every transaction. So when you beautifully described how healthcare medical system and educational system, and that word educational operating system was really fantastic. So if I go to a doctor, say 3, 4, 5 years, and AI has taken over the healthcare system, and if I just put in my symptoms, etc., and AI comes out with a prescription, how do we take care of the integrity? It's not false positive. How far we have succeeded in achieving this state of having reliability should be one, basically, what we are saying in such. Have we been able to achieve that?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. See, AI, like humans, will never become perfect, right? There's no perfect doctor who will always give you perfect diagnosis. AI will reach a level of perfection, but not 100%, right? It will still make mistakes. So the keyword is collaborative between human and intelligence, right? So there should always be a maker-checker mindset, right? So the role of the human in the new world is that we have become curators of what AI is producing. We are not producing anymore, but we are sitting and becoming curators of it. So for example, in the world of journalism, if I put some parameters and say, hey, AI, generate a news article, there is still the editor who's not writing the news article from scratch, but curating it, right? The radiologist is not generating a report, but curating it. The ECG doctor is not generating the output, but curating it. So that is one way to increase reliability, right? Which is to say, you have AI doing something, there is a human who is always looking at it, and then allowing the next step to happen, right? So that is still going to happen, right? Second thing is, there is sins of omission and commission we will still commit, right? So like ma'am said, imagine in the US or in the Western countries, the black people and the women were not given loans in the past. And now the AI has used that data to learn how to give loans. And now that bias has come into the model. The key thing to understand is that AI is as innocent as a child. Whatever you feed it, it will learn that. So it is our responsibility to feed it the right thing, to correct and detect those biases and make sure those biases don't creep in. And we have made a lot of mistakes in that. You know, earlier chatbots released by Facebook with all kinds of wrong language came up, right? Gemini had a problem, other Gen AI had problem. So I think we need to be watchful that, you know, the way I look at it is think of parenting, right? And when your child is at a 15-year-old teenage level, we are both happy and conscious and cautious about it because we are happy that it is becoming more and more independent and capable, but we don't know which direction it will go. And that is the relationship between humanity and AI right now. Humanity is the parent. We have taught it whatever we have taught it, right, with all the data that we have given it. It is as innocent as a child, and it has learned from whatever we have taught it. So it is our responsibility as a parent to make sure that it continues in the right direction and not take us in the wrong direction. And that is a big issue right now. Everybody who understands AI and its full potential is worried about how AI will it redeem humanity or destroy humanity is still up, is an open question. Jury is still out on that. While we are making progress on technology, we need to make progress on, for example, in regulatory frameworks, right? Privacy, bias, all of that. Otherwise, like ma'am said, we will always use a good technology for harming humanity before we will use it for benefiting humanity. We have done this for every technology in the past. Gunpowder, nuclear energy, internet also, we have used it for the bad use cases first. And then we are now realizing it can be used for upliftment of society. So this is human nature somehow, that at teenage, we tend to go negative first, then we go positive. AI is also going through that, right? The deep fakes that ma'am talked about and all of that. I think we are going to see a little bit of that. Regulatory will always be 5 years behind technology. So we have to accept that. And then hopefully with the goodwill, right? AI for good. Yes. That has to come from within. No regulatory framework can create a value system for society. So I think ultimately the value system of our society is going to define what AI will do, right? And that is very important. That's why humanity has to catch up on our value system while we are way ahead on our AI system.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
See, one other thing I'd like to add over there is, even today, doctors make, mistakes in diagnosis. It's not that every diagnosis is correct. But it's very difficult to understand how that mistake was made. Because what the doctor saw at that point of time is not auditable. There's no audit trail there. However, in AI, there is a clear audit trail. If there is a mistake, you can always go back and see on the basis of what that mistake was made and correct it, so that the next time around, the mistake will not happen. So the auditability of the transaction or the advice or the action is very clear in AI, which is not there in human actions. Similarly, your investment advisor tells you that do this investment, it's going to turn out great. Doesn't turn out great. Now, why? It's very difficult now to make out why he made that suggestion. Whether it was unintentional, ignorance, malified, you cannot make out. However, if an agent, an AI agent made that suggestion to you and it doesn't work out well, you can go back and see what knowledge articles it relied on, what experience it relied on, what graphs it relied on, and you can correct that so that the next time round they make better decisions. So, to that extent, I would say it's not that there will be no mistakes. It's very difficult to come up with a zero mistake situation, but we can make it more and more reliable as time goes on.
Thank you. That's responsible AI, I think. Yeah.
Yes, please. One more question and that's it. Anybody? Yeah.
Thank you very much. This was very insightful. As I'm coming from the education background, my question was, as we are moving in extraordinary time and dealing with generative AI, so how we will be transforming life of student and how we will be conveying the existing education system to adopt this AI and convert many students' life, and adoptability is an issue with the many education system. How we can do that?
So see, think about the history of our country, right? One of the greatest sins we have done is hoarding of knowledge, right? That only a few elites used to have knowledge and everybody else used to work, right? What has internet done? It has democratized knowledge. Now everybody has access to the same knowledge, right? Now the paradigm shift that is happening is not only, that everybody has access to knowledge. The paradigm shift is that everybody has access to the knowledge in which they want to consume. I want to consume knowledge in an AR/VR system. Somebody wants to consume knowledge through an experiment of physics, and that freedom has come. So I think technology has brought democratization of knowledge to everyone, right? And this changes something else also. Now the onus of learning is not on the teacher or the school system, but on the student. Think about it. Now I cannot complain that there is no good teacher for me. Internet is your teacher, Gen AI is your teacher, you cannot complain. So I think this is a bigger paradigm shift that we have to agree on. It is going to be a student-first, student-centric education system, not a guru-centric or a curriculum-centric education system. And the onus of learning is going to be more and more on our students. So we need to encourage them to learn and contribute, and the purpose of learning has to evolve from getting a job to solving the problems of the world. I think if we can turn that around, we will create amazing innovators in an education system and not just job seekers. Yeah? Thank you.
So, you know, that thing flashed bright red to say time's up. So I will honor that. But Dr. Kumar, I must tell you that this has been a really enjoyable conversation for me. I have learned an enormous lot. I'm sure so have the others. And I could have continued this conversation for another 30 minutes. But as time's up today, I look forward to interacting with you again. And thank you very much for being here with us today.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much for the enriching chat and also for taking all the audience questions with such grace and clarity. I request you both to kindly come back on stage, and requesting Ms. Bhattacharya to felicitate Mr. Kumar, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so next we delve into a crucial conversation on responsible AI, keeping humans in the loop. It's my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Leslie DeMonte, Senior Associate Editor at Mint, along with our esteemed panelists. Leslie is a senior journalist who's one of the foremost commentators on the evolving impact of AI on the industry and the workforce. He's also the author of AI Rising, India's Artificial Intelligence Growth Story. On the panel tonight, we have Pratap Raju, founder, Climate Collective, driving AI for climate action and environmental sustainability. We have Mr. Sathya Prathipati, senior partner, McKinsey & Company, renowned for his expertise at the intersection of AI, business, and society. Becky Ferguson, the CEO of the Salesforce Foundation and Senior Vice President of Philanthropy at Salesforce. Becky helps grow and evolve the company's integrated philanthropic model and commitment to business as a platform for change. We also have Akhil Agarwal, Head of Impact at Educate Girls. He's a trailblazer in using data-driven strategies to empower underserved communities through quality education. Let's give all of them a big round of applause.
Hello, can you hear me? Am I audible? Okay, perfect. I just wanted to hear some voices in the audience. So we've had quite a discussion on AI and Gen AI. Dr. Kumar just gave us he's a professor, so at the end of the day, you'll always have these kind of sharp insights that are there. On this panel, of course, we have practitioners also, we have McKinsey also, we have Climate Collective, and of course, education. So what we are going to do is speak about AI and Gen AI. Typically, we understand that it transforms a lot of the sectors. I think that is a kind of a given. But most of the conversation, unfortunately, has been happening around what I call is a distraction, which is AGI, or artificial general intelligence or super intelligence. So it sort of, takes away from the conversation, and most of the time we are trying to worry about whether AI will empower us or enslave us. But so much good is happening in between, and there are so many lovely stories to be told about AI. Of course, as Arundhati pointed out, that there are many challenges also which we are acknowledging, and here are some companies that look at the opportunities, they address they acknowledge the challenges and they address it. Basically, the point is, like, if you look at three kind of areas, one is of course of philanthropy, climate change mitigation, and education, which I think many people are always interested in. AI and Gen AI are transforming these sectors by enhancing decision making with data-driven solutions, improving efficiency, improving productivity, increasing accessibility, personalizing experiences, and bridging access gaps, thus fostering a more sustainable and inclusive future. Of course, McKinsey will tell us a little, he'll give us more deeper insights on this, on how it's also being used by large enterprises. So it's just not NGOs. In education, of course, there was a talk about education. Many of the applicants that we had for the awards function sort of applied for this awards, Tech for Good, have been doing extremely creative work in these areas. Like they've been using to create more engaging content out there, where students can actually interact in real time with the kind of content. So that's something fascinating that we'll be hearing more about. But if you look at some of the examples, you have iDream Education that uses AI to offer bilingual device-agnostic learning platforms for students. You have platforms like Mercer, Metal, etc. They use AI to, evaluate student performance. Khan Academy, I think all of us have heard about that. They have got an LLM basically called Khanmigo. So that uses an AI-powered teaching assistant that leverages LLMs. Of course, Educate Learning also leverages LLMs, and he'll be telling us more about this in a bit. On the climate change, how AI is being used with climate change, there are plenty of examples. Say DeepMind and NASA are using AI to improve climate models, offering accurate predictions of temperature. Our own IMD does that. And of course, then you have people like Renew Power, that uses AI to sort of predict solar and wind energy output. In AI and climate change, I was just joking with Pratap, it is a bit ironical also, because AI is a tremendous energy and water guzzler, power guzzler. So it is ironical that something that also guzzles a lot of energy, also guzzles a lot of power and water, is also helping tackle climate change. Interesting stuff. And of course, on the philanthropy and CSR, many people forget that AI optimizes resource allocations, it reduces the cost of funding, and it helps matches to donors with the kind of funds that are available in this, which of course Becky will be talking more about that in a bit. So without much ado, let's start with Akhil. I'll be giving each panelist 2 to 3 minutes to talk about the opportunities that we have in this space, pertaining, of course, to their own domains. Let's start with Akhil. You can tell us a bit about, Educate Girls, since you're sharply focusing on girls and women.
Hello everyone. So first of all, we are not an edtech company. We don't basically deliver the content to the children in school or students in school. But what we do is we solve the problem of being out of school. The girls are being out of school, and we like to try to bring the community in the system. We try to mobilize them, sensitize them, and then bringing back the girls are out of school into the school. So regarding the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, before 2017-18, what we used to do is when we start to expand in any new district, so we without even thinking about how we can efficiently plan our expansion, we just rely on some government data, some suggestion from the government, okay, expand to this particular district, this has a more out of school girl population. So that sometimes lead to not so efficient expansion, because not all the villages in the particular geography have that same concentration of out of school girls, so that lead to some sort of, like misefficiency and, reducing the funding, limited funding available to us. So then we decided, okay, let's work on it, like let's get all the data around the population being out of school girls in India. So there are around like 6 lakh villages or more than 6 lakh villages in India. And there are like more than 40 lakh girls between the age group of 5 to 14 are out of school. So if we want to, like, suppose if educate girls want to solve this problem, it will take like more than a decade and lots of funding to solve this problem if we, start expanding in like every 1,000 or 2,000 villages like that to reach to that 6 lakhs villages. So we like brought all the data like available to us like in public domain, like census data, DICE data, ASA reports, and the Shrug data set also, which is again like the open data platform. They have like information around all the villages. Then we are able to predict like, okay, like we did predictive modeling around that, and we are able to predict, okay, what is the average number of out of school girls available per village. And through that exercise, we were able to identify the hotspot in the particular geographies across India. So you will be surprised to know that this particular issue of like around 40 lakh girls are out of school. We were able to identify that by going to just 5% of the villages, like on around 30,000 villages, we will be able to solve 40% of the problem. So that is the power of AI we can use into the system to understand, okay, this is how we can use it with the limited resources, limited funding available to us, and we can deliver the program efficiently.
Okay, great. I would have loved if you had also commented on how you're using Gen AI, which is the Pragati LLM, but we can come to that in a bit. Becky, AI and philanthropy and CSR, people do not typically connect AI with these subjects. You could just educate us in these next 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Good evening, everyone. So lovely to be here with you together. I think, first of all, I come back to what drew me to philanthropy in the first place. And I think it's about often I think about what is the unique role that philanthropy can play in a challenge in an area, and how can it be the kind of patient capital that can de-risk new opportunities and innovations. We've been thinking a lot about, in this moment where there's just this incredible speed and change happening, how do we make sure that the social goods sector, that social entrepreneurs are not left behind in this revolution, and really waking up about that and thinking about that every day. Because we know in the nonprofit sector, you'll ask any probably nonprofit leader in this room that digital transformation is an incredibly important thing, but oftentimes there just aren't the resources and the time available to delve into that. So one thing we've been working on a lot is how do we actually help and partner with nonprofits so they can be a part of this moment, that they can harness these incredible opportunities. We've been running a series of accelerator programs, for instance, over the last 18 months that bring together cohorts of organizations that have maybe the kernel of interesting ideas that they're thinking about how they might want to harness AI to help advance their missions, but then coming together and bringing all those elements of what we like to call the 1-1-1 model together, not just the philanthropic dollars, but also the pro bono resources and talent of solution engineers, technical architects, and some philanthropic resources, and then give that time and space to sort of design those ideas together and start to bring them to life and actually produce. We've got to work together through one of those accelerator programs. So it's really fun to be on stage with you together this evening.
Thanks, Becky. Sathya, I'll come to you in a bit because you need to connect all the dots. So I'm giving you some time for that. Pratap, you could give us some idea of, Climate Collective is also an accelerator. I think we were just talking before this session started about the kind of, climate tech companies that you have dealt with, I think in thousands, I would clearly say, and the money that you have helped raise. As I said, it's ironical whenever we speak about climate change that, okay, the very same tool or the very same AI technologies that are adding to the the energy problem are actually also helping to solve them. So you can give our audience some idea with some examples would help probably.
Great. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I also want to thank again Salesforce Foundation. I'm part of the AI for Impact program that Becky was talking about. So I started Climate Collective about 2016 to support clean tech entrepreneurship here in India. The challenge was there were no startups and there was no funding. That's not how actually startups normally, nonprofits start. We start with a mission. And what we've seen over the last few years is an explosion of entrepreneurship and innovation in clean tech here in India. I think some 6,000 or 8,000 clean tech startups, 1,140 have gone through our programs. We're seeing a lot of data solutions. I think 43% of our startups leverage data in some meaningful way. Increasingly in AI now. AI has many applications. I'll just talk about one in particular, the energy power sector. We run a program called Electron Vibe. It's been supported by Rockefeller Grow family for many years now, working with discoms. Now, what can AI solutions do for discoms, our electric utilities? Of course, there's Leslie had mentioned, bringing in more renewables into the grid. That's forecasting or scheduling power from solar and wind. We see use cases for demand side management. How do we turn off appliances, for example, ACs, proactively so that we don't have to have these very expensive spinning reserves that we need to power the grid. The cost of the power is very high in India. We have a large number of people, not just in India, but in the global south with no access to electricity, something like 800 million people, etc. And for those that, for the rest who don't, they live in energy poverty. So getting the grid out to more people so we have access to energy is one of the key development goals. We've seen use cases of AI, for example, for predicting blackouts. These are things that we face here in India, load shedding, etc. In disaster response, as we see more extreme events coming in, we've seen use cases globally where AI is being used to help predict when power will be available to where, helping the response be more efficient, etc. And so on. I think I've seen estimates, these are still estimates, that we could leverage AI in this sector, the power sector, maybe with savings efficiency up to 15%, and something very similar as well on the carbon emission side. And this 15% is a significant number. I know that Leslie, you mentioned the irony of using a energy-intensive solution like AI, but the applications could be so huge to outweigh the costs, I believe, especially when we think about things like the power sector.
Thanks, Pratap. I think that's a good insight. Sathya, I have kept you waiting, but McKinsey has got this bird's eye view of what's happening across sectors, large enterprises also, as we were discussing just before the session, small firms, mid-sized firms, everybody's using AI for good. So you can just give us some examples and just give us some insights on what exactly is happening.
Thank you. Yes, sure. This is a hard act to follow, so I'll try my best to capture what I've heard from this panel, but also otherwise. I think we're still obviously in very early days of AI and the impact it's going to have on business more broadly and society more broadly. And I think across industries, there are a lot of pilots, there are a lot of early stage use cases, experiments ongoing. And I think the most successful ones are the ones which have, especially in industry, have shown some form of value delivery in the short term. We found that outside of software engineering, which obviously this group will know well, there are around 4 areas that account for 75% of the value that AI has captured for industry. The first, I would say, is just operations and manufacturing operations, which also ties very closely to what Pratap was saying. So predicting what is logistics optimization, for example, that route correction can help you save total consumption, optimization of the energy use on a plant so that your machines are running at optimal efficiency. But also, I think, so that's part one, which also has AI for good because it just uses less and it also reduces wastage. The second is in product development, where I think through a combination of technical writing and some of the more basic use cases, but also predicting customer trends and then creating products that are over time part of the circular economy that can be reused better, recycled better, I think is the second one in product development, and that's creating the second course of value. The third is in marketing and sales. You're aware of personalized marketing and all the risks that come with it, but personalized marketing, but also chatbots and writing. And the fourth is in service operations, which is just operations within a company across services. That's what this doesn't capture, though, are the, I think, really breakthrough areas which industry is working on. So if I was to take the example of the pharmaceutical industry, and if I think about where AI is really working, I think there's a lot of work on target identification. Where can drugs potentially go that could apply? There is lead optimization, which is you can take a compound and see where is it going to have the greatest efficacy, and work on the back of that. But also clinical trial optimization. You need people to go through clinical trials. Not the right kind of profile of people are always available at the location at which the trial is happening. So what is the best network of clinical trial sites that you want to own, run? What is the configuration? What is the design of experiments that allows you to run the best experiments? And those are best done by parsing through data, parsing through trends, and enabling you to design. So I'd say there's a lot happening. It's still in very early stages. These are the 4 areas where a lot of value is currently being captured. But if you look forward, I think there are moonshots across industries that could actually have breakthrough potential of where AI is going to be applicable.
Thanks, Sathya. I think I'm glad you brought up that point, because I think while there's a lot of skepticism around the ROI on Gen AI, we tend to sometimes forget the kind of transformational and foundational changes that are happening even as we speak. Because these are the kind of things, on the one hand, of course, you hear of things like AGI, but on the other hand, you think the transformational things like AlphaFold, for instance. So a lot of these changes are going to impact mankind. Akhil will now focus a little on the kind of challenges that are there. I know that you have the Pragati LLM also that is being used, because the rule-based chatbots have moved to intent-based chatbots, now moved to LLM-based chatbots. But there are those kind of serious considerations which is common across all sectors, whether we talk about biases, whether we talk about what kind of data is being used, because at the end of the day, these models are as good as the kind of quality of data that they train upon. And then, of course, cultural kind of things, because you're dealing in a sector that has many sensitivities around it. So if you can just give us a bird's eye view very quickly in a couple of minutes or so, and the kind of challenges that you face in this sector.
So first thing is there is the reason why Educate Girls is still needed, or it's working from last 17 years, is that there is there is a gender divide in the rural areas of the major states of India. Whether sometimes it is towards the education, sometimes it is towards the aspiration, towards the employment, opportunities, and all those things. So when it comes to the technology, same things already applicable is there for those also, basically. For example, when we started Pragati chatbot, this is basically chatbot for open school learners, which are between the age group of 15 to 29, which doesn't have opportunity to go to a regular school due to many reasons, personal reasons, systemic reasons. Schools are not there. Schools are far, from 2-3 villages, so that they are not able to go. So basically, when we implemented that, we identified that despite of all the technology in place, all the engaging methods and all those things, one thing is they don't have access to technology or even the mobile phone also. They have to borrow the phone from their brothers or father, and with the limited time being given to how much time you can spend on this mobile phone like that. And that comes when the basically that problem perpetuates when there is a condition with married women, pregnant mothers, and all those things. So they don't have more access to that. So that's why there is a huge gap in the technology dividend across gender. That is one thing. Second thing is we are talking about so much that we want to develop so much technologies around AI, but when we go to rural area, they don't have understanding about the consent. We just go there, collect the data, but they don't understand what powers they have when it comes to the consent, whether they can basically reject any survey, they can decline to give any survey. Because if you ask any person in village that give you Aadhaar card, they will easily give you Aadhaar card, because they are anticipating some sort of support or benefit from you, that they are easily sharing this kind of confidential information. So whether this kind of information is necessary for using the technology or not, but people are collecting the information around it, and the users are not understanding what are the rights they have. The last thing I want to add here is the risk of exclusion. So when we are talking so much about like, okay, we want to build so many technologies around education, healthcare, but still there will be like many groups of people in the rural areas which are at the risk of exclusion from getting some benefit from these kind of advancement.
So risk of the gender divide, risk of exclusion, all these things are very, very important concern. Data privacy and biases. Yeah, please.
I just want to say that consent and informed consent is an issue across, not just in rural India, but I think just across the board. Even when you think you have informed consent, I'm not sure the people fully understand what they're consenting to. So it's the...
I think people in urban areas also don't understand why rural areas. Becky, Salesforce has been speaking about responsible AI models, and of course, whole thing is about keeping humans in the loop, and I think that's one of the way of addressing these challenges. I mean, it will be nice if you can, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think I was also just thinking too about personally the kind of some of the moments that come to mind when I first had my own engagements or interactions with AI, and my brother seems to be my litmus test. I remember 2 years ago around this time we were standing in the kitchen and he was like, have you seen this thing, ChatGPT? And we were using it to write poems to my dad in the kitchen. And now a couple years later he's a firefighter, and he was telling me how he uses it now after calls. Often calls are like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., maybe you've got calls at 4 or 5 a.m. You come back to the station and he uses it as a tool to help him write up the call notes. And I'm just thinking to myself, I know without a doubt, a year, 2 years from now, we are both going to be using it in ways we totally can't even imagine. And so I'm sort of keeping him as my kind of marker of this evolution. And I think, as sort of you were alluding to, a lot of the initial use cases, I think we see a lot of things around productivity and efficiency gains. Can I carve a few seconds off of a customer call? Can I draft a grant proposal a little bit faster? And that's incredible, right? Unlocking some of that time to give it to higher value activities, amazing. And but I think sort of the challenge and the opportunity is sort of how can we totally reinvent and reimagine systems, sectors that are really not working for us. And there I think it's just this challenge of our imaginations and our creativity at times, and how to sort of step back and at the end of the day think even bigger and bolder. So it's both the challenge and the opportunity there.
I think it's extremely important because while the EU Act and the US, they have sufficient guardrails on the data protection part, the DPDP rules, and of course the Digital India Act is yet to see the light of day, but I'm sure as of now I think we are cautiously approaching this space, which I personally believe is a good thing, because India needs to first do a lot more, because there's that balance between innovation and regulation that everybody has to match. Your quick thoughts on this?
Well, I can look at how we're looking at AI to solve some of our problems of inclusion and also the risks that we face. So our nonprofit, our theory change basically is that we need more entrepreneurs on the ground where the problems are. It's not just the global north sending here, but here in India and the global south. Not just in Bangalore or Bombay, it's across India, because our problems are across India. Our entrepreneurial talent is across India. So I saw some stats that are very interesting. This is actually very, very interesting. SMEs are our growth engine in India for jobs, right? But if you look at the data, 60% of our jobs from the SME sector come from newly formed companies in the last 5 years, part of which is startups. This is a global trend, of course, but in India, we're starting to see newly formed SMEs and startups being our jobs engine. And when we talk about green transition, we're also talking about green jobs being a key part of this. We run accelerators quite a bit as well. We know that in our women program called Women in Climate Entrepreneurship, women face tremendous hurdles to be entrepreneurs, not just in climate space, but generally in across sectors, technologies, etc. So we did what all nonprofits do: is we kind of put our pedal to the metal, or accelerated, found more funding, grew faster, built some SaaS tools here and there, looked at some online videos, etc. And we reached some scale, right? So something like 287 women tech startups, which is pretty good, but it's not enough. So then we started thinking, well, what can we do with more technology? And then personalization at a scale is something that we think is doable for a lot of support. So that's when we came and approached the Salesforce AI for Impact program, because we, as a nonprofit and not a technology company, to transform and learn how to use leverage technology for something on the ground, we needed help. So one of our goals through this program, is a new platform called Mosambi, is to increase the support across India, and not just India. I think India can support many other countries across the global south, increases the support to entrepreneurs, not just in the big metros, but across countries, small countries, big countries, disadvantaged groups, etc. And we believe in certain kinds of support with more technology, we can even reduce the cost to practically zero, or at least in business models that could be very affordable wherever you are. One of our challenges, as we're learning here, of course, is there are biases built into current ecosystem. You see biases in funding, in particular, centered around big universities, etc. One of our challenges is to now think about how AI can help us break those barriers better, right? Other challenges is language. I think we've mentioned earlier, startup support programs are in English, 90%, at least the well-funded ones. But that's not where many people don't speak English or are not as comfortable in English. So we're looking at technology to think about how to reach out to people, redesign programs, and even redesign ecosystem support as a nonprofit. So it's a very exciting kind of phase for us. It's very confusing as well, very honestly. There's so much potential, but we need to see results on the ground for us to build and get in more stakeholders and all that stuff.
I'm glad you brought up that point about regional languages, because that's where Indic LLMs, the kind of stuff that we're doing in India, is extremely important. That's important. Sathya, whenever we talk about responsible AI models, large enterprises probably may find it very easy to implement it because they have the funds at their disposal, because typically you can appoint a chief AI officer, though even that talk around the chief AI officer has sort of waned a bit because I think of the overlap with the other kind of functional heads that we already have. But having said that, how easy or how hard is it for smaller companies to create these kind of responsible models, especially in these kind of fields, because they want to do a lot of good, but they want to do it responsibly?
I don't think I can add much to what my fellow panelists have already laid out as challenges, right? And these are all the same challenges that I think small enterprises will face, whether it is exclusion, whether it is bias, or whether it is just the enormous potential that's moving so fast that we really can't keep pace with what's happening, and sometimes that exposes us to risk. And I think the most common risk that we've spoken about is on data, whether it's personally identifiable information or whether that's confidential information of any sort, and that can happen because of error, because of judgment, or because of just systems, right? It can happen because of any reason. So I think that two levels to the answer here. First is, of course, the risk that small enterprises get caught out because they're not able to invest behind what is a clear theme that requires a lot of money to keep pace with where it's going. But the second is exposing themselves to risks along these lines. Not only the data risk, but also risks like biases, which I think we've seen across industries have a very significant influence on the answer and not necessarily always in the right way.
I think you've raised a very important point out here. I think it's time that we doff our hats to all the entrepreneurs who do all this stuff despite the kind of constraints that we have, and the amount of innovation that is here. And in fact, actually, I think Arundhati during her keynote also mentioned about the financial, I know personally how involved she was. And the government also is talking about using the DPI framework, the Digital Public Infrastructure framework kind of for AI activities. That's pretty encouraging. We can take a couple of questions. I have time for a couple of questions from the audience, please. Kindly identify yourself. Yes, please. Do you have a mic?
Yeah.
Could please. Can you give him a mic, please?
Take mine.
Yes, Prashant?
Am I audible?
Yes, perfect.
Hi everyone. Thank you for being here. So I am going to ask a question which I personally feel when I go to educational institutes or to any medium-sized corporations. The biggest problem is the heads of those corporations or those institutes. They are very keen on implementing AI solutions in their organizations. And we start implementing all those things. So we have implemented across many industries the AI solutions, because those are medium-sized industries, and they have like 100 people, 1,000 people in their workforce. But the problem occurs is now the lower people, the people who are at the, who would be using those apps to use the AI technology. Now they are like, oh God, I have now a third app to work on. So
okay.
The real problem is of engagement. Like, how can I bring in
How can you improve engagement?
Right.
Anybody would like to take that?
So basically, like when you develop any application, like, there are two aspects of it. One is like user interface and user experience. You have to think about both the things. So for example, if we are thinking about like any senior managers or any district level, senior person, that definitely that person will be like, be more capable of using two different applications. But for me, the most important person is the person who is going on field and actually talking to the community. So my objective and the lens from which I, develop my applications or any model is that person in the field. Because that is the backbone of my whole program, and that person will deliver what I'm planning to. So basically that planning and thinking, basically keeping that person in the center is important. So you don't have to do anything without thinking about that person. So that's what we educate girls, we think that person is important, keep him in the center and then plan whatever you want to do.
Okay. Pratap wants to add.
Yeah.
I can share my experience working with electric utilities, DISCOMs.
Right, sir.
Innovation is happening faster than understanding and awareness on the ground.
True.
We work with a lot of DISCOMs here, both public and private. There's a lot of support for both the energy transition and climate goals, but getting it on the ground to chief engineer is our challenge. One of our goals, at least in this program, Electron Vibe, is to build the AI for power use cases and white papers so that people can learn more, learn from their peers, learn from electric utilities, DISCOMs outside of their country as well. This will take time because technology doesn't sell itself, especially when we're talking about things like, power sector are often big organizations.
Great.
Yeah, and I might just add quickly too, I think there's a lot of power in just the fast iterations. We do a lot of things in sandboxes, right? Put them in a place where it's protected. You can.
One final question. Wow, we were so clear. Okay, I think.
Hi, Pratap. This is a question for you, actually. See, I think one of the...
Kindly identify yourself.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. This is Sandeep. I work with HT. I work with Mint, actually. One of the implications of AI is also the energy crisis that it might cause because of the vast amount of electricity or vast amount of energy usage because of data centers, right? Like we've read that organizations like Google and Meta and so on are now competing with countries in terms of the kind of energy expenditure that's happening. You're in a very interesting position where you're talking about how AI can solve for climate tech solutions, whereas it might also be a cause of climate crisis. So how do you resolve that? And is there any interesting, it's a very interesting problem statement for you to sort of say which with the cause and effect and the impact to be sort of resolved at the same time.
Right. No, I can't resolve it, so I don't know. I do know a couple of things that, in fact, there's been some interesting case studies of AI being used to reduce power consumption at data centers. It's starting right now. Some pretty, very interesting outcomes there as well. But I gave you some stat, at least when we look at, I think there's about 140 use cases in the power sector that we've been studying and we're going to publish pretty soon. If we're talking about numbers like 15% reduction in carbon emissions, it is a significant order of magnitude. Whether it outstrips the increased demand from power from AI, I don't know. I just know from the application side, the power needed for those use cases is perhaps well paid back manyfold from the power sector.
I think, friends, we have run out of time. I think we've had a delightful conversation, and if I were to just simply sum it up, it's that despite all the constraints, despite all the limitations, the fact remains that AI, Gen AI, and despite all the progress, tremendous progress that AI and Gen AI technologies have made and used for societal impact, with of course their limitations, yet these are early days, and we are all trying to grapple, around the situation. We are all trying to understand the situation and trying to make the best of it. So I think we are all participants in the entire thing. So please give our panelists a big hand.
Thank you all so much. I request our panelists to stay on stage, please. I now invite Mr. Binoy Prabhakar, Chief Content Officer at HT Digital, to felicitate all our panelists and our moderator. Thank you very much. All right. Well now, it's my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Harsh Mariwala, founder and chairman of Marico. Besides building one of India's largest consumer goods companies, Mr. Mariwala is invested in nurturing innovation in India through the Marico Innovation Foundation. MIF helps small firms in scaling up through mentorship and implementable solutions, leading to a sustainable impact and growth. They have a focus on the social sector and on agriculture. So now please join me in welcoming him on the stage with a huge round of applause.
Good evening. I think all of you are tired. Good evening. Thank you. So, I don't know why I was called to this function, Arundhati. I don't know why you called me, because I'm not good at technology. You know, my biggest weak point, if you ask me in terms of my competencies, is technology. But one thing I can tell you, technology is going to be the biggest disruptor in our life in coming years. That's for sure. And I think there are two ways of looking at it. Does it provide opportunities for organizations, or is it a threat? I think organizations have to look at it from both angles. And that's what we've done in Marico. You know, when Marico is in fast-moving consumer goods, so we were perceived to be a very defensive sector because there were a lot of entry barriers. Entry barriers in terms of distribution, in terms of the need to advertise on mass media, on television, press, and if you had to launch a new product or if you're a new company, you needed large budgets, and more importantly, how do you distribute to so many outlets? India is such a vast country, and depending on the kind of product you have, I mean, some of our products are sold in 5 million outlets in India. So how does a new competitor enter this segment? Was a big entry barrier. And technology, thanks to technology, in the last 3 to 5 years, we've seen the emergence of e-commerce. And because of that, we've been in the segment, or as it was perceived to be. And most FMCG companies have to take on the battle. Most of the D2C brands are funded by private equity, venture capitalists, and they have lots of money. So brands like Mamaearth, many others, you know. So we had a big challenge, you know. So what do we do as Marico? You know, do we protect our current businesses from the threat of the D2C brands, or do we also enter these? And we said that we need to do both. So we in the last 3-4 years, we acquired 4 D2C brands, and we also have 2 of our own D2C brands. I think what that did was it gave us tremendous confidence. It gave us what was ticking in terms of how the D2C brands are being built. But one thing we did from day one was that the mindset required to build a D2C brand is very different from a traditional FMCG brand. So we had a different team, much younger in age, at a different location. So they didn't have the problem of plenty in terms of advertising budgets and things like that. They had to work under certain constraints. And I must say that 4 acquisitions have panned out very well. We are far more profit focused compared to many D2C brands which are funded by others. So next year we expect the D2C brands to do a turnover of 1,000 crores and become profitable. So what I'm trying to say is that I think you have to look at disruptions in technology from an opportunistic point of view. Of course, there are fears. Even AI will have a lot of fears. But I think we have to embrace technology. And I think that's what we are trying to do in Marico. Of course, being a larger company, we have our own internal talent pool. I know that when I interact with smaller entrepreneurs, they're struggling. They don't know how to launch digital initiatives within the organization. They don't know what AI is. So I think the key challenge is how do you embrace these new technologies and make it from view it from an opportunist point of view. I'll talk a little bit about Marico first and what have we done in the space of AI and digital for the company, and then I'll pivot to how the same principles have we used for our social initiatives. So just to give you a broad idea, we are a company with almost, I think all that is there, I think it's gone back, but we have a large range of products, and we have 2,400 employees, turnover around 10,000 crores. And this brand, Parachute, sells something like 1 billion packs every year. Now, look at the complexity when our sales force goes to the retail shop, the mom and pop shops. We have 861 SKUs, stock keeping units, serviced by 62 factories, 33 depots, about almost 1,000 distributors. Our direct reach is about 12 lakh outlets, and we have 3,700 salesmen servicing that. So what have we done in the area of AI and digital? So first thing, we said that earlier the sales rep used to go on their own. If they had to service an area and say BKC, they would decide which outlet to go first and the second outlet. So we said that can we optimize the sales beats? So AI-led tool in terms of analyzing customer density, demand patterns, delivery frequency, traffic patterns were deployed. And I think that led to a 6% saving in terms of sales force time, and 15% travel time was reduced because of that. Moving forward, how does the sales rep, what does he ask the retailer when you have 861 SKUs, what to sell? So we have an AI-assisted selling and suggested order initiative where an ML-led application analyzing buying patterns, retailer preferences, similar retailer cohorts was deployed. And when the sales rep visits that particular outlet, it will throw up which SKUs they should push in that particular outlet, depending on the type of outlet and depending on the past data, and which would have higher probability of getting sold in that particular store. And I think that has led to about 9% more sales order lines in those outlets. In the area of marketing, we have used marketing mix modeling. We developed a highly evolved statistical analysis tools for analyzing ad spends, trade and consumer spends, pricing, price elasticity. And currently the price and promotion elasticity are available for all the SKUs at every granularity. And that has led to a saving of about 15 crores of non-impacting spends have cut down. In terms of consumer segmentation, we've deployed social and marketing intelligence platforms were developed for listening, grouping, identifying consumer cohorts and influencers, leading to more effective creatives and positioning of ads, which has led to lower performance spends, which have reduced from 56% 22. We have recruited 120 agronomists, and we are serving about 200,000 farmers in these two states. And that has led to about 17% increase in their productivity. And that has cost hardly at all anything, maybe a couple of crores or a little more maybe. And it has led to about, if you convert that 17% productivity, it means an extra income of about 125 crores to farmers every year. So I think that initiative has been complemented by again using the AI image analytics for of the leaf pictures, where we actually take pictures of leaves of coconut trees to diagnose disease in the plants. AI route optimization for our travel agronomists to go to the farms in the right way. That has led to some saving in terms of time. And also crop yield analytics have gone up based on AI image processing of nut counting in trees. One of the reasons why Parachute succeeded many years back was we innovated and converted the brand from being packed in tins to plastics. Plastics is cheaper than tins. It's relatively better looking, attractive. It's convenient to use. And how did Parachute become a market leader? When I started, Parachute was, I'm talking of 50 years back, was not there on the scene. So from a 0% market share, now we have a 50% market share. And one of the key reasons was multiple innovations in the area of packaging, and main is to convert from tin to plastic. So whenever I talked about the Parachute story at corporate events, in the open house, always the question was, but what are you doing for the environment? And you are packing so many plastics, and look at the damage plastics are causing to the environment. I think that was really, that was hurting me also, that we have to find some way out. So about 3 years back, we commissioned a study with the help of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and Praxis Consulting. And we have identified about 15 innovators which have innovated in the area of either reuse or replace or reduce the usage of plastics. So that report was released about 2 years back. We've helped those organizations in terms of scaling up, but we are personally not happy that we need to do much more. So one of the party which was identified in this study was doing high-speed AI-enabled sorting system, and they process, I think, about 6 tons per hour. They are able to, if you put that sorting of your whatever the waste which is generated through household, put it in that machines, you can sort out plastics on the polymer type basis, the color of, based on the color as well as the brand. Now we have, if we are able to do this, we'll be able to develop near virgin quality recycled polymers. And I think that's what the industry wants, because the government is asking us to use a certain percentage of reused plastics. But currently the problem is we are not able to get good quality reused plastics. So that we are going to prototype this initiative in 2 cities, in Hyderabad and in Raipur. We also already approved, I think the land is all, agreement is signed. And we believe that if we are able to do that successfully, and we'll know that within a year or year and a half, this could get scaled up all over. It's financially viable. It's a zero waste to landfill model. The prototype initiative aims to produce 9,000 tons of near virgin quality plastics the first year itself. So we want to, the plan is to recycle about 32,000 tons of dry waste, and it will prevent 15,000 tons of CO2 equivalent emissions. It will also create livelihood for about 370 people directly and 1,000 people indirectly. But this is just a prototype in a part of Hyderabad and a part of Raipur. And I'm quite hopeful that this will be successful. If it is successful, then we want to take this initiative all over India. We may not be able to fund it all by ourselves. Currently, my family office has funded it. But I'm sure that many corporates would be willing to fund it because there is a return. Not very high return, but I think you get a return of 10-15% on the investment. So we are hoping that this initiative is successful so that it can get rolled out in other cities. So let me conclude by saying that Marico intends to deploy AI, ML and Gen AI internally across people productivity, building knowledge management and code generation. From an outside-in perspective, we will continue to leverage them for deeper consumer insighting, product development, and enhancing creative content. And we strongly believe that AI is good to be integral to social good causes. It is possible to pivot, as I mentioned earlier, from business case to a social case. I think that's what we are trying to do. I believe that the Connect system in India for such use cases is. With that, thank you very much, Arundhati, for calling me. Wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mariwala. Requesting you to stay on stage, please. I also request Ms. Bhattacharya to felicitate. Huge round of applause, please. Thank you so much. And now to the moment we've all been waiting for, the reason that we're all gathered here today, the All About AI Tech for Good Awards. I request Mr. Mariwala and Ms. Bhattacharya to come back on stage and invite Mr. Puneet Jain, CEO of HT Digital, and Mr. Binoy Prabhakar, the CCO, join us to present these awards. So we have 6 award categories for tonight. The best use of AI in agriculture and food security, the best use of AI for a sustainable environment, best use of AI in health and sanitation, best use of AI in arts and culture, best use of AI for social equity and inclusion, best use of AI for education and livelihood. To all the winners, please join us on stage as your names are called to receive your trophies, and do share a few words about what this means to you, your vision, any challenges that you faced, anything that you would like to share with us. So, on to our first category for the night, the best use of... Alright, our first category for the night, the best use of AI in agriculture and food security. And the gold goes to Aqua Connect. Let's clap a little louder, please. To revolutionize aquaculture by providing predictive analytics and real-time insights, helping farmers enhance productivity, optimize resource use, and ensure sustainable fish and shrimp farming practices.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mint. Thank you, Salesforce team, for the great award for us. It is a validation for us. Whatever we are doing as part of Aqua Connect is good for community. Thank you so much.
All right, now on to the silver for the same category. This goes to Philo. Let's clap, guys, louder for all our winners here. Philo leverages AI-driven insights to empower farmers with precision agriculture tools, enabling efficient crop management, resource optimization, and enhanced sustainability in farming practices.
I would like to thank for the organizers, and I would like to thank everyone. Actually, we are helping farmers to take data-driven decisions, and till now we have reached to 11,500 farmers, and this award will help us, motivate us to reach more and more farmers.
Thank you very much. Many congratulations once again. Now on to our second category, best use of AI for a sustainable environment. And the gold for this one goes to TPRO. TPRO specializes in sustainable solar power maintenance, and they leverage innovative waterless cleaning robots to boost efficiency and to conserve water.
Thank you for this award and recognition. Basically, of our panels have all this happen in our land alignment that help optimize the power plant. Have 7 gigawatt of 1,500 of in India. Every day, lakhs of
Congratulations once again. The silver medal in this category goes to Ugam Gramin Vikas Sanstha. A huge round of applause, please. Integrates environmental assessments with predictive analytics. These efforts include collaborating with community leaders to ensure that the technology is culturally relevant and accessible.
थैंक यू मैम। उगम हिंगोली डिस्ट्रिक्ट में काम करती है। उगम आईफाड एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जो EFC प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करती है, जिसमें हम 720 फैमिलीज के साथ, इंडिजिनियस फैमिली के साथ काम करते हैं, और उसमें अभी इंडिजिनियस सीड कलेक्शन के लिए हम AI का यूज़ कर रहे हैं, सीड कलेक्शन एंड सॉइल इरोजन के लिए। तो थैंक यू मैम फॉर दिस।
Thank you so much. Super inspiring stories coming out of here tonight. Now on to our third category for the night, the best use of AI in health and sanitation. And the winner for this one is an institute that we are all aware of, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. For social good by advancing predictive healthcare tools. Researchers at AIIMS have launched iOncology.ai, which has been transformative in cancer detection.
Thank you to the organizers, Mint and Salesforce, and thank you for this recognition.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The runner-up is Vadhwani Institute for Artificial Intelligence. Uses AI to develop scalable solutions addressing critical social challenges including healthcare, agriculture and education, and they focus on underserved communities.
Thank you so much. I'd firstly like to thank the organizers for appreciating our efforts. It's a really complex problem to solve, not only in terms of AI, but also in terms of the ground truth, that is the training data that is required to build this AI model. I'll briefly help you understand what this AI model is. So basically what we have done is we have developed an AI tool which is able to give the anthropometric measurements, mainly the height and the weight of the child from 0 to 42 days, that is 1.5 years of age, which is a very critical time period after the child is born. And on the basis of a 10 to 15 seconds video of the child, we are able to give these measurements. So it not only helps the healthcare workers replace the existing conventional methods which makes them carry these heavy weighing machines and infantometers in the field, but it also helps in the automation of the data entry, making it more accurate. So really happy and thankful to the organizers for appreciating these.
Thank you all so much. Congratulations. The fourth category for tonight is an interesting one, the best use of AI in arts and culture. And our winner here tonight is Apicon Solutions. AI-powered platform has revolutionized grant management for artisan clusters by automating the entire process from application submission to fund disbursement.
Thank you so much for this award. This will motivate us to keep doing better. Thank you all.
A big round of applause, please, to help motivate them. The runner-up for this one is JK77. And this one is super interesting because JK77 is in fact a student-led organization. So huge round of applause for them, please. AI to enhance road safety and environmental conservation through an innovative system which basically helps prevent animal vehicle collision.
It is truly a memorable achievement, and achieving this award on a platform which allowed me to share my ideologies is truly a remarkable and a memorable experience for me. I thank Mint and everyone organizing this event for allowing me to share the ideologies and allowing me to bring me up on the stage. Thank you.
I just want to ask, what is it that inspired you? You're so young. What inspired you to work on this and come up with this?
The thing that inspires, I think, almost everyone is the experience. I've seen a lot of things happening around me. It can be anything, being serviced, any sort of animal killings, or any sort of cultural misunderstandings, etc., discrimination, that allowed me to introduce AI into these bits of tech and make it better and enhance it. Yeah.
All right, super. A huge round of applause again, please. These are our leaders of tomorrow, clearly doing a great job. All right, on to our fifth category for tonight. The best use of AI for social equity and inclusion, a topic that we've been discussing almost through the night today. And our winner for this one is again something that most of you would know, Sarvam AI. Artificial intelligence to drive social equity and inclusion by developing accessible and user-friendly tools that empower nano businesses like fruit sellers and sell online on 500 Indian dialects.
Thank you everyone, Mint and also Salesforce, bringing the award like this, because when you are building something AI for such a small business, people ask, is it really required? And when we started this 4 years back, thinking about the idea, AI was in very, very early stage. And finally, we built our own model, and the product was launched today only in the store and a Play Store, where you can speak in language and can do a billing for a walk-in customer. As you know, 85% of the businesses around the world are unorganized. A simple billing is a difficult, but they can always speak bill, आधा किलो टमाटर 40 रुपए का भिंडी. They generally sell in those 350 gram price. So that is possible on this platform. And we give them an entire micro ERP where they can do accounting, selling online, inventory, and promotions on this platform. And as you asked, what are the challenges? The challenges were, first was that so many dialects are there, and we are the speech first organization. And for a speech first organization, which is very, very early stage and very, very small, the investment in AI is very, very high. So we got a help from the companies where they have helped us. We had a help advisor who helped us. So we could make it affordable by building it at a very, very low cost. And second thing which we did it is optimizing AI for the speech, where we can support so many dialects and make a running cost of AI very low, where we are able to bring down the cost of AI 1/20th than most of the AI models are. And now we are working on bringing this on the device. So most of the AI will be more distributed in future as quantum computing, sir, and you discussed. So that's where we are going ahead, and we need support and help from organizations. We already got a lot in past, and this is the encouragement. This is, I think, the first award for us, and this is, for me, I'm still little bit nervous speaking about this, but this is really a great acknowledgement by, especially in this segment where people think it is not required, but what we have seen it, we have 1,800 sellers, and out of that 400 of them are push cart vendors, and they speak in all different languages. In Bangalore's only one pin code, and this product already seen 71% satisfaction for them to do billing, accounting and all, which is one of the very big complex thing. Even any simplest of simplest system, you give it to them. So thank you very much. I'm talking a lot, I think, but I am very, very happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Their app just went online today, guys. I think that deserves another round of applause. All right. And the silver in this category goes to Riddlin AI Foundation. intelligence to empower underserved communities. They focus on improving access to essential services like healthcare, education, and employment, and they have a strong emphasis on social equity and inclusion.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Mint and Salesforce, for organizing and giving this award to us. It means a lot to us. So we are a tech and AI-driven a company and foundation which actually building solutions for Bharat. We are actually very happy that Dr. Swati Pramal backed us and made this possible. We are building a platform where we will be doing a face recognition for missing people. We are already have launched a QR pendant which is wearable, and it is very useful for people who are suffering from dementia, Alzheimer, and specially able children who actually tend to go missing. So they wear it. We are doing it with Indian Army, Indian Navy. We are actually doing it with the special schools. So we are very privileged that we got a chance to serve Bharat with technology and AI. And I wish we all can do it together. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you very much.
Well, our winners today have caught the attention of the stalwarts. So now on to our last category for the night. Best use of AI for education and livelihoods. And the winner for this one is Imbibe. Big round of applause, please. AI-powered personalized learning solutions to help students improve academic performance. They provide real-time insights, adaptive learning paths, and tailored content based on individual needs.
Thank you, Mint, Salesforce, and the jury for giving us this award. Imbibe is a artificial intelligence and machine learning enabled teaching and learning solution which touches all the stakeholders, and we have brought this at an affordable price, and awards like this really motivates us to keep doing better. So thank you very much for the award.
Thank you very much. I wish we had this while we were growing up and in school, but better late than never. And our runner-up in this category is SpeakX. Please give a huge round of applause for the last awardee of tonight. Leverages AI-driven voice recognition and speech analytics to enhance communication skills. It provides real-time feedback and personalized training for individuals and for businesses.
Hello everyone. Thank you Mint and Salesforce for this award and recognition. At SpeakX, we have a vision that we want every Indian to speak English confidently using generative AI at an affordable price and open global opportunities for them. So this award really means a lot to us, and this will motivate us, and it's a validation that we are on the right path. Thank you so much.
So these were all of our winners. One big last round of applause for all of them. They're doing groundbreaking stuff. However, I must tell you that while these were our winners, there were many entries that we got that came very close to winning. In fact, our jury will agree with me on the fact that they had a tough time in choosing between some of them. So to honor the finalists who are also doing amazing work and using AI to drive change, I'm going to call out the names, and we now request the finalists to join us on stage one by one to receive their certificates. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Now, our finalist in the best use of AI for social equity and inclusion, FIA Technology Services. Thank you very much. Congratulations to our second last finalist of the night in the category of the best use of AI in agriculture and food security. And the finalist is Bajaj Alliance General Insurance. All right, I think they're not around here. We'll give this certificate to them later. But on to our last finalist of the night, the best use of AI in health and sanitation. And the finalist is Adiovo Diagnostics. All right, we'll give this one also to them later. Let's have another big round of applause for our winners and our finalists. Their exemplary dedication and innovation deserve special recognition. All right. I now request Mr. Sandeep Rao, Chief Strategy Officer, HT Media, to join us on stage and felicitate Ms. Arundhati Bhattacharya. Mr. Mariwala, Binoy, Puneet, you can. Thank you. All right, ma'am, if you could stay on stage as this evening draws to a close, I now invite Ms. Bhattacharya to deliver the closing remarks of this incredible evening.
It's never nice to stand between hungry people and dinner, so I'll keep this really, really short. Thank you all for being here. This is something very much after my heart, because while I believe in technology completely enough to come out of retirement after a 40-year banking career to get into technology, you can imagine how much I believe that this is going to be the backbone of every single enterprise going forward, and how it's going to really and truly help a nation like ours that cannot be served by brick and mortar increase and improve their lifestyles. How much I believe in all of this. And thereafter, of course, you know, the fact that this can be used for the power of good, that's the other belief that I have. So this award really and truly means a lot to me, and I'm really happy to be able to sponsor it alongside of Mint. As I said, my hope is that this will grow to be one of the most coveted awards going forward in the future. Congratulations again to all the winners. Congratulations to the audience and for your active participation, and thanks again to the panelists and to Mr. Mariwala, of course. He honored us by being here today as the chief guest and giving away the prizes. Thank you all very much.
Ma'am, if you could continue to be on stage with us, please. We are going to take a few photos now. Yeah. So we'll be taking a few group photos with the winners, the finalists, and our esteemed guest jury members. So first, requesting Mr. Harsh Mariwala, our jury members and speakers, to join us on stage. Yes, sure. I also request on stage Mr. Puneet Jain, Mr. Binoy Prabhakar, Mr. Sandeep Rao to come on stage here.